So please come out, Thornton Township, because we need you more than ever. Right now, they have an actual election called a caucus, a one-day election, whereas you normally would go to the ballot box and vote for your person. They can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls.
What do you do tonight if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination?
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here. They're not going to go nowhere. The show will go on.
So they can be heard. You don't do like that. Let the people go down the line. Dictatorship. Get them out. Get them out. Do what at the township.
We won't stand for it.
Tiffany, tell me what happened.
None of y'all vote. The police
Tiffany, tell us what happened. Let's say your crime.
just did an illegal meeting.
Who was the slave?
He packed gym at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District erupted in cheers as the fiery caucus denied incumbent Tiffany Henyard, who faced criticism over township spending, nominating State Senator Napoleon Harris instead as a Democratic challenger for the position. I will be suing everybody tomorrow. This is illegal. All right, folks, last night was an absolute train wreck for Tiffany Henyard. The Thornton Township Democratic Caucus wasn't just a loss, it was a full-on political meltdown, and the cherry on top of this disastrous Sunday, she didn't even have a certified assessor on her slate. It's like, how can you fumble that hard? Not having an assessor meant that she wasn't even allowed to be on the ballot. That is not just a bad day at the office, but that's the kind of mistake that ends careers. So as you see, Henyard is understandably salty. She's mad, she's emotional, and there's a lot of finger pointing happening. She's claiming some shady tactics were used against her. But let's be real for a second. This isn't just about the caucus. This is about years of bad decisions coming home to roost.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest. This is a fraud.
To fight the result.
This is criminal. I would easily say hundreds of people that were not allowed in to be a part of the process.
You can only make so many enemies before they all team up and use a Thanos snap to turn your career into dust. And that's exactly what happened here. Tiffany Henyard has been burning bridges like she's been speed running a game on how fast can I alienate everyone. Employees burned fellow policymakers, torched business owners, completely nuked politics is all about alliances, and Henyard seems to have skipped that lesson entirely. When you treat everyone around you like they're disposable, eventually you're the one that gets thrown out. Even the most loyal crew can't save you from when you've already turned tire, basically Southland against you. However, Han and her team believed that there was some voter suppression happening.
It's one thing to win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was taken today.
Henyard's allies also raised questions about why so many people were not let into the building. They say she may seek to be a write-in candidate.
They wouldn't let none of the people in. This is absurd, and something needs to be done about it. This is criminal.
I think it's very unfair that I don't get a chance to make the decision of who I want where.
And who did you want to vote for?
I wanted to vote for Tiffany.
What was the process supposed to be?
The process was followed and it came out the way it was supposed to.
Here's how it all started. More than 200 people outside waiting to enter Homewood Flossmoor's Park District.
But the people who were attending the party are the ones who was in there voting. That's unfair to us residents standing out here in the cold.
Cheers from Harris's supporters and outrage from Henyard's supporters.
I think it's absolutely absurd that you have all these people out here. You have the seniors out here.
Total voter suppression.
Absolutely.
How you win, stand on your record, what you're going to do for the people, what you've already done, and let the people elect you. You can't do stuff.
So this is where the story gets a little messy. After her colossal L at the Thornton Township Democratic Caucus, Tiffany Henyard is throwing out the last-ditch Hail Mary voter suppression. She is claiming that her supporters were not let into the building to vote. However, There wasn't just her people outside. I got this video from a fellow content creator. You guys seen her in the township meetings. Apparently, even folks who didn't want to vote for her were actually left out in.
They still got the door locked, door closed. It's supposed to open at 6:30.
Hey, had y'all IDs out?
So what the hell happened here? Henyard is coming in hot, calling to vote unfair and illegal and promises to sue. Even her main dude, Keith Price, dropped this line. Here the people's voice was taken today.
Meeting, to me, was the biggest form of voter suppression I've ever seen in my life.
It's a bit dramatic, but is it true? So this looks like something that can obviously generate her base, but we got to talk about reality. Suing is one thing, but proving voter suppression, that's extremely difficult. So first off, Hannah got to show receipts. Did someone deliberately lock her supporters out of the building? Was there a shadowy cabal of anti-her operatives twirling their mustaches at the door? Or more likely, this was just a dumps fear of planning that people were still going into that building if people from both sides couldn't get in, and it was really slow, it was really packed. Then this starts to look less like a targeted suppression and more like some logistical issues that affected the situation. Now this caucus hasn't been set in a very long time, decades. It just goes by a primary.
There are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not, but the voters certainly should.
Bill Cadigan is a former state board of elections chairman who says the caucus system is legal in Illinois, as is holding multiple elected positions.
No, it does not look like good government, and it looks like more of the same in Thornton Township.
But again, let's dive into what she'll need to make her case. First, the basic. Were there fire codes or capacity limits that kept people out? Did volunteers running the caucus make random decisions about who got in? Were there complaints filed during the event? If her team can't come up with hard evidence, this lawsuit is going to sink fast. She's going to have to find those receipts. And that's one of the biggest problems with Tiffany. She claims that she's going to have receipts and never provides the receipts. She keeps saying, I'm going to talk, I'm going to tell my truth, I'm going to tell my story, and we're still waiting for the story at this point. She has lost the township. When is she going to start talking? Because if she doesn't, she's going to probably lose her mayor seat at Dolton. Even if Henyard proves that there were some issues, here's the problem. She has to show that it cost her. The nomination courts aren't just going to overturn an election just because things were a little chaotic. Yeah, it looked weird. I mean, when I watched it, I thought, is this how it's supposed to go? Is this a definitive thing that no one can complain or no one can argue that she didn't get a fair shake? It looked weird to me, but as some people in the comments said, that this is how some caucuses go. They can get a little crazy. She's going to have to connect the dots, as some people like to say, by saying, hey, there's a lot of people outside, and they were all Hanger supporters, and if they would have gotten in, I would be still running the township right now. And without that kind of information, this game is over before it even starts. There's so many legal battles in this situation evolving around Tiffany. Henyard drains time and money and obviously public perception goes back and forth. I think most people are happy that Henyard is out as township supervisor. Henyard already got this reputation for, let's say, not playing nice with others, using the tactics that were used on her last night. Jumping into lawsuit may just come off as desperate, like she's throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. On the flip side, if she actually could pull this off and expose real voter suppression, that is a tremendous plot twist. And mind you, she was able to beat the recall a couple years ago. So this lawsuit is either going to be clutch play for Hannah's career or just another chapter in her spiral down the abyss. If she can prove that this wasn't bad logistics, but a deliberate attempt to block her supporters, she might turn the tables. But if this falls flat, she's just wasting her time while her political ship sinks. Either way, this is shaped up to be a chaotic legal situation here, and honestly, we'll check it out. We'll see what's going on. I think this saga is far from over, but let's go back to just the general situation. Henyard likes to talk about educating people. This is her gold to buzzword phrase. We all seen it. She wants to empower the community. She wants to educate the masses. But the problem is she couldn't figure out how to get her people in that building on time for the caucus. And let's not forget about the certified assessor. She completely whiffed on including in her slate. You'll think the person who's all about education might have don't know educated herself on the bare minimum requirements for running in a political race. This wasn't some complex hidden rule buried in print. This is politics 101. No certified assessor, no ballot slot. And that mistake didn't just Cost her to ballot, it cost her the entire game. A job where you're making almost $250,000 gone. It's like you show up for the final exam without a pen. Sure, you might have known answers, and I don't think she does, but if you don't have the tools, you're still going to fail, and we cannot ignore the logistics here. This is the most important thing in your political career. If you can't coordinate getting your team to a caucus, how can you coordinate on an entire township? This is the problem with Tiffany Hodge, just a level of incompetence. These are the details that show that whether someone's ready to lead or not, and unfortunately for Henyard, last night proved that she wasn't ready, and these consequences hit hard, especially in a pocketbook. See you again, a $250,000 salary is potentially gone. So if the question is, if you can't handle this stuff, how can you handle the big stuff? That's why a township is in some kind of gridlock. So some people may say that Napoleon Harris kind of just used some gamemanship, used laws and certain rules to get her out.
Have a good night, eat the food, and be merry.
Napoleon Harris, the committeeman, the senator, has them stalling because he is in bed with them. He's their puppet master. He's telling them, don't go to board meetings, wait on the
And he believes that's not fair, and this is the cold hard truth about politics. Relationships are the currency of power. You don't rise to the top alone, and you definitely can't stay there without backup. Henyard downfall is a textbook case of what happens when you treat people like crap. Every fight, every feud, every lockout of a township employee, all the lockouts with the trustees, it all adds up. And when the time comes for people to either back you or bury you, many of them are already holding the shovels. This isn't a new story. We've seen it with politicians, CEO, and every reality TV show villain who thought they can win without playing nice. For Henyard, the walls are closing fast. She has alienated employees who kept the township running, fought with policy makers who could have been allies, and off business owners who fund campaigns. And now when she's in a fight of political life, she's looking around and realizing that there's no cavalry coming. When you make too many mistakes, you're like that guy in a zombie apocalypse who thinks he doesn't need a group until he is surrounded and eaten alive. Politics thrives on collaboration, and without it you are finished. Now Henyard does have some loyal supporters, but it looks like it's not enough. A small squad can't stand against a tidal wave of opposition that Henyard has built up herself. This is a universal rule: treat people like trash, and eventually they'll team up and take you out. No one is invincible, and the second your enemies smell weakness, they will pounce on you. So what's next? Obviously more drama. Henyard saying that she's suing, which isn't shocking. She's already pulled that move before, and she did win that recall situation, but I think she probably had more public support back then. Now that support maybe evaporated faster, or there's people who are watching these news reports and maybe believe that she's being targeted as voter of suppression. Suing might delay the inevitable, but turning this around feels like a Hail Mary. And it looks like there's no one in the end zone. She's still the mayor of Dolton for now, but even that title is starting to feel shaky, so we're going to be seeing some legal news in the next couple of days. Obviously she still has to be a supervisor. She's a lame duck one. She still has to do her job for the next couple of weeks, and also she has to fight for her mayor job, so we'll see. We'll follow it as we always do. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I see you guys in the next video.